Putting systems in place is like building the foundation of your business. It's like moving from one spread footing with your name on it to multiple footings, a proper foundation that distributes the load of your business to other major functions so that the business runs on systems instead of people. Hey guys, Todd here from Construction Leading Edge. Hope you're doing well. This episode is a Q&A session. I received some great questions recently that I want to answer about scaling a business, about some of the problems that visionaries face. What should you do if you want to scale your business? What are some myths and misconceptions that you may believe? So let's jump into it. I'll read through these questions, talk through the answers, and see if any of this stuff applies to you. So the first question is, running a construction business can be chaotic. How can implementing systems allow contractors to take off some of the hats that they're wearing? So first of all, let's talk about, there's a belief, right? And I heard somebody say recently that sometimes you'll challenge your beliefs, accept the things you really believe, and you never challenge them. You never question the things you believe. So if you believe a couple of things, then you're in trouble if you want to own a construction business. Number one, if you believe that you have to work in the business 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week, 80 hours a week to be successful, then you're kind of screwed, okay? Because that's what you're going to do. If you look at your business as something that you have to work in, that the business has to run around you, and that's what you believe to be true, then you're going to be stuck wearing all the hats, okay? I think one of the enemies of scaling a business is this belief that I have to work in the business, period. And it's definitely a problem if you believe you have to work 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. But here's the reality. Your business should run without you. You're a business owner. You're not a shopkeeper. You're not an operator. You don't own a job. If you believe that you have to work in your business, then you are what Michael Gerber would call the technician, the classic technician who had an entrepreneurial spasm. That's what he referred to most small business owners as in his book, The E-Myth Revisited, the technician who had an entrepreneurial spasm. Maybe the technician who just couldn't work for somebody else and they just wanted to go do their job on their own. And that's not going to help you scale the business. So the first thing you need to believe is that you have to look at your business as something that needs to run without you, right? So if you bought a piece of real estate, let's say you invested some money in rental property, in multifamily or light industrial or retail, and you own the space, you wouldn't expect to be in there replacing light bulbs, locking and unlocking doors, cleaning toilets. You wouldn't expect to work in that building 24/7, right? But that's how a lot of people look at their business. It's something I have to work in. So first of all, you have to put on some new glasses to look at your business if you want to put systems in place and start thinking about how can this business run on systems instead of being based on running on certain people, especially yourself. So now let's talk about this other belief. There's a belief that's pretty widespread, and I hear people say it in passing, and this thing that they believe to be true, and it's false. And it sounds something like, well, construction is just chaotic, right? All construction is chaotic. Construction is chaotic. A lot of people believe that construction is chaotic. It has to be that way. Well, it doesn't. And I can tell you, I've managed very chaotic construction projects, had a very chaotic business of my own that didn't go well. But back in 2011, 2012, I was brought in to run a construction company that was chaotic. It was chaotic. I had a classic technician who had an entrepreneurial spasm, who was the business owner, but he recognized that he he was not, he had run up against a ceiling of complexity and he needed some help. He didn't really know what that was, but he needed some help. So when I got there, there were 12 to 15 employees and revenue was somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 or $4 million a year. And it was chaos, cash flow problems. Payday was a disaster every day. Everywhere I looked was chaos. And I got kind of tired of that. So I went to work putting systems in place, starting with the biggest fires. And 3 years later, the company had grown from 12 or 15 employees up to 50 employees, from $3 to $4 million in revenue up to $11 million in revenue. Profit margins had tripled. And the chaos was a fraction. So the chaos at 50 people was a fraction of the chaos at 15. In fact, I could run that business in 15 to 20 hours a week. Triple the size, triple the number of employees, triple the revenue, just about. And I could run it in less time. So here's the way I think about systems. I studied structural engineering at the University of Kentucky, and we spend a lot of time designing foundations, right? And if you're in construction, you have probably spent some time building a foundation. Well, the definition of a foundation, this is the structural engineering definition of a foundation, is it is the part of a structure that carries the load from the structure to the earth. It distributes the load of a building or a cell phone tower or a smokestack or a high rise or a house or an addition, whatever. The foundation's job is to distribute the load of a building or a structure to the earth. Live loads, dead loads, wind loads, snow loads, etc. And if you were to look at the structural plans, the foundation drawings of a very typical small construction business, here's what you would see. You would see one spread footing that would have the business owner's name on it. And all of the load of the building, the business, no matter how large it is, it all bears down and connects to that spread footing, that one spread footing. All of the load falls onto the business owner's shoulders. They're responsible for everything: sales, estimating, finance, project management, customer service, warranty, materials, strategic plan, which typically falls to the wayside. Everything, all of the weight falls on the business owner. And they're like Atlas, the mythical person who is carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. So back to the question, how can implementing systems allow contractors to take off some of the hats they're wearing? Well, putting systems in place is like building the foundation of your business. It's like moving from one spread footing with your name on it to multiple footings, a proper foundation that distributes the load of your business to other major functions so that the business runs on systems instead of people. This is a crucial differentiator between businesses that scale and businesses that don't. Businesses that scale are built around systems and processes, and the people are somewhat interchangeable. Businesses that don't scale and that will never scale are built around people, very simply put. So think about it. What does your business foundation look like? Are you the single spread footing or the single pile or the single concrete pier, whatever the foundation is that you use in your area? Are you the single point of contact that's carrying all of the load of your business? And then does your business run on, is it based on systems or is it based on people? So why is it important to put systems in place? It's because that distributes the load of the business, takes it out of your head, takes the weight off your shoulders, and distributes that load to other people so that you can hire other people to run those parts of the business. And why is this important? It may be pretty obvious. Some of the reasons may be very obvious, but it's crucial to put systems in place and take some of the hats off and distribute the load of your business for a few reasons. One, so you can have a normal life, so you can work a normal work week. If you're ever going to get out of that belief pattern that you have to work in the business, you have to put these foundations, you have to put these systems in place. Otherwise, the business runs around you. If you ever want to take a vacation, if you ever want to get away from your business for any period of time and not have to answer phone calls and emails and texts and builder trend messages 24/7, you have to put these systems in place. Long term, if you ever want your business to be sellable, or if you ever want to be able to transition your business to your kids or to a key employee, or if you ever want to sell it, you have to have these systems in place. It's critical. Investors don't want to buy a job. They want to buy a business. Just like you would not want to buy a piece of real estate that you had to go work in 24/7 and change the light bulbs and toilet paper and clean and open doors and do all of that. People don't want to buy a business. They don't want to buy a job. Okay, so that's why it is crucial that you put those systems in place. The next question is, what are some of the signs that builders need new systems? What are some of the signs that builders need new systems? What might you be experiencing that it's trying to tell you, hey, you need some new systems? I'll get into some specific symptoms in just a minute, but in general, the signs that people need new systems are that they have basically, these signs are pointing to the reality that, hey, we have hit a ceiling of complexity. Our systems, our current systems, no longer work. They just don't work. We have outgrown our systems. Or another way to put it, it's sort of like back in the 1700s or 1800s, one thing that killed a lot of people was scurvy. And the reality is, we all know this, scurvy is not much of an issue now because scurvy is it's a deficiency of vitamin C. And it was devastating disease to sailors and polar explorers who didn't get enough vitamin C, and they didn't realize it, but it was a disease that was caused by a deficiency. And what I see a lot are systems deficiencies. When I hear about chaos, I hear, okay, we have a systems deficiency, and that is a sign that you need to put systems in place. So profit bleeds, like if you're dealing with schedule overruns constantly, if your team is chasing each other around looking for information, if customer satisfaction is trending downward, if you find your customers are scrutinizing your projects and punch lists are a nightmare, you're not closing out projects in a timely manner, you get handcuffed to projects, if you're dealing with rework, doing work twice, if you're dealing with giveaways or unsolicited charity, where you're doing work for free, and either because, for example, you had an allowance bust and you found out about it too late in the game to bring it up to the client, or the trade partner did some work as an extra and you paid them, but you didn't catch it at all or didn't catch it in time to bring it up to the client. You have to throw stuff in at the end of the project to make the customer happy, or you just get to the end and there's a bunch of change orders piled up at the end of the project and you end up eating the cost because the customer's like, hey, when were you going to tell me about all these change orders? It's way too late in the game. So these are some systems deficiencies. And from a personal standpoint, what we hear a lot are statements like this. This is what we hear very commonly from our clients. Statements like, I'm a visionary. I'm a visionary entrepreneur, but I'm stuck in day-to-day operations. I can't get out of this business. I don't see a way out. I can't sell it. I can't retire. When I try to get away, even for a weekend or a week, I'm still working, or I know that I'll have a shit show waiting for me when I get back. So I don't even bother. Details are falling through the cracks, and I spend a lot of time putting out fires. I feel like an overpaid fill in the blank. I feel like an overpaid estimator, an overpaid project manager, an overpaid paper pusher in some cases. I have plans for the next thing, development, business acquisition, spending more time with some charitable organization, but I'm stuck. I started this business to be a stepping stone to the next thing, but I'm stuck here, trapped under this stepping stone. A lot of cases, I hear things like the stress of running this business is affecting my health, Maybe it's driving a wedge between me and my family. Everything falls on me. Every problem lands in my lap. Every phone call comes to me. I am trying to keep up with everything, playing whack-a-mole. And I'm working 70 or 80 hours a week, and I'm approaching burnout. All of these statements are systems deficiencies, and they are indications that you have outgrown your systems. You've hit this bumping up against this ceiling of complexity, and you're stuck. Those are the signs. If any of those sound familiar, then you need new systems. That's what your business is trying to tell you. You need new systems. All right, next question is, what tips do you have for business owners looking to have more time to enjoy life outside of their job or their business? What tips do you have for business owners who want to have more want to enjoy life outside of their business? How do they balance work and personal life? Yeah, this is a big problem. A lot of people love working. The entrepreneurs love working. They love to work on their business. They love to grow things. But how do you balance it? So here are a few tips. Number one is to answer a question that is surprisingly difficult to answer, and is also a question that very few construction business owners think they have the option to answer. Okay, it's surprisingly difficult to answer this question, and very few people think they actually get to answer the question. But the question to start with, to wrestle with, is this question: what do you want? What do you want? Most people just jump into business and they get to work, and they're this entrepreneur, or they're this technician with an entrepreneurial spasm. But it's really important that you start with this question: what do you want? What does your ideal lifestyle look like? If you want to have work-life balance, you need to decide what does this work-life balance look like. We'll talk about what having a clear vision looks like, but what are the outcomes you're trying to achieve? What does your ideal lifestyle look like? Do you want to build a business that runs without you? Do you want to build a business that you can own and it will spit off cash and fund your retirement? Do you want to build a business that you can sell someday and cash out? But what do you want? And then when it comes to your lifestyle, what is your ideal lifestyle? How many days a week do you want to work? What do you want to spend your time on working on the business? Personally, how much do you want to travel? What are your ideal working hours? What are your hobbies? The business should be the source of freedom, impact, and wealth for your life. You're doing this business for a reason, right? You went into this business so that it would provide freedom, so that it would provide impact, so that it would provide wealth. What does that look like? What do you want? And I call this right to left thinking. So we're going out to the right side of the page, okay? The outcomes. At the end of your career, you might even have really long-term planning horizon. You could be thinking multi-generations. Like how do I want to set up generational wealth for my great grandchildren, depending on how far out you want to look. And you can do this. And then you start working from right to left, and you work from the outcomes from on the right side of the page and start working backwards, working from right to left, and design your business to support those outcomes, to support that ideal lifestyle. This is why people don't have work-life balance, is because they're operating from left to right. They don't know what their ideal lifestyle look like, so they're just taking what comes to them. And I'm here to tell you that somebody is going to determine what your life looks like. Somebody will determine the level of freedom that you have. Somebody will determine your lifestyle, determine the quality of the relationships you have with your spouse and your kids and your grandkids. Somebody's going to determine the level of wealth. Somebody's going to determine the level of impact you have. And it can either be, you can either let everybody else decide that. You can let the economy and customers and politicians and global warming and the supply chain, whatever, you can let them decide, or you can decide what your life is going to be like. You can get in the driver's seat. That's why this exercise is surprisingly difficult and very few people do it. But I'm here to tell you, you get to decide. So if you want to have work-life balance, then number one, answer the question, what do you want? What does that ideal lifestyle look like? What does that balance look like? Number two, operate from right to left. And number three, design your business to do that. So if you are a visionary entrepreneur, then design your business to run without you. If you want to sell your business someday, design your business to run without you so it can be sold. Unfortunately, most businesses, most construction businesses are designed to fail. It's tragic, sad, but most people spend 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years unintentionally designing their business to fail because they want to retire, they want to sell their business, they want to get out of it at some point, they want to hand it over to their kids, but the business was designed to fail without them as the owner in place. So decide what you want, design your business to support that lifestyle. All right, next question is, this came from a software company. There's a habit we often see where builders sign up for software, but it just sits there and they don't use it. Or they try to implement a new process, but the team just doesn't buy in. They just can't get any traction. Is there a strategy you recommend that would prevent this from happening? Right. So I've seen this a lot. I don't know how many people I've talked to who have said, yeah, we signed up for Builder Trend or Procore or Busy or some software 2 years ago. We've been paying for it hundreds of dollars a month, but we're not using it, or we're not using it to its fullest extent possible. How do we do that? Well, there are dozens of reasons why software just sits there. One of the reasons why software sits there and why people don't embrace a policy or a new system, scratch that word policy. We don't talk about policies. We're talking about systems and processes. One of the reasons that people don't use software and they don't embrace a new process is that thing doesn't solve a problem. That new thing is a solution in search of a problem. It's not solving a problem. So why bother using it? So beware of solutions in search of a problem. One of the biggest reasons people don't embrace new software or new processes, even when it's clear they need to do it, and when it's clear that there are painful problems that need to be solved, it comes down to two words: psychological reactance. The law of psychological reactance. I talked about this in a recent episode about the real reasons why your team won't change. But it's worth repeating. And the law of psychological reactance says people are less likely to do something simply because you told them they need to do it. Humans don't like to have options taken away from us. We want to maintain freedom. We want to maintain autonomy. And when somebody tells us, hey, you're going to do this, you have to do this, and they shove it down our throat, then we automatically resist. We react negatively. So beware of that. So here is what you can do. So the question is there a strategy you recommend that would prevent people from reacting negatively against a new process or a new software? So here it is. It's a 4-step process, and then I'll give you another tip. It's a very powerful strategy that visionary CEOs use. So number 1 is think who. Number 2, think why. Number 3, what. Number 4, how. And do it in that order: who, why, what, and then how, in that order. So what typically happens is the CEO or the leader says, here's a problem, and they go straight to what. Here's the process. They go into their fortress of solitude and they hammer out this standard operating procedure, print it out, put it into a 3-ring binder, or blast it out to their team. And then they're disappointed. Why won't my team change? I must have the wrong people on board. How am I ever going to get to the next level with these people? How can I fly like an eagle when I'm surrounded by a bunch of turkeys, right? Follow this process. Who? So start with who. Who needs to be involved in this process? Who needs to be involved in using this software? So think about who will be running this software or using this process? Who will be using this information? Who will be entering the information into the software? Who will be impacted by this downstream? So start with who. Who is going to be affected by this? Who needs to be involved in designing this process or implementing this new thing, right? And then you get those who's together in a room and go to step 2, which is why. Remember, first is who, then we go to why. So you get those who's together and you ask them, why do we need to change? Everybody's favorite radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? Okay. So your job at the most basic level is to facilitate a conversation with those people where they hear themselves say why they want to change, why they want to use this new software, what problems they're having, what's in it for them. There's a very important concept that I picked up from a book, and it's this statement. People take action when they hear themselves say why they want to. What I used to think was people take action when they hear me tell them what to do. Does that sound familiar? That's sort of the typical approach. People will take action, this is what I thought, but I was always disappointed because I thought people will take action when they get an email from me telling them what to do. That worked sometime, but not very well. So the reality is, if you want people to embrace this new thing, then your job is to facilitate a conversation where they hear themselves say why they want to. Okay? So we've got the who's together. We've talked about why are we doing this? What's in it for they're hearing themselves say what's in it for them? How is this going to make their life easier? How is this going to affect their customers? How is this going to affect our trade partners? Why are we doing this? Very important. Then you get into what. You ask this group after you've gotten the right who's together and you've talked about why we need to change. Then you start asking what needs to happen. It's very important that you don't get into or worry about the how at this point. A lot of people get bogged down. As soon as they start talking about what needs to happen, they immediately get bogged down into the how, they get overwhelmed, and they quit. So we just talk about what needs to happen. And you map that out with your team. What needs to happen, in what order, and you have a plan. Finally is the how. How are we going to do this? What are the nuts and bolts, the nitty gritty, the minutia? How are we actually going to do this? Who is going to type this up? Who is going to tell this person? Who's going to create this policy? That's the how. So who, and then why, what, and how. Okay. So I mentioned it's very important that you not get bogged down in the how when you're talking about the what. So very important. You may want to write this down. This is incredibly important. This is what visionary CEOs do. They separate implementation from the decision. Okay? Maybe another more appropriate way to say it is they make the decision and then they worry about implementation. So separate the decision from implementation. What that looks like is you look at your business, you look at your strategic plan, maybe you do the right to left thinking exercise and you say, hey, we need to do this. I don't know how in the hell we're going to do it yet. We don't have the right people. We're not there yet. Maybe we don't even need it yet, but we have to do this. This is what we have to do. So you make that strategic decision. This is what we're going to do. And then you just trust yourself and your team that you'll figure out the how. Okay? But what happens so many times is the what and the how, the decision and the implementation get all tangled up together and nothing happens. Perfectionism rears its ugly head. Overwhelm pops up. It's like, oh, this is just too much. We'll never get through this. Why even bother? And you just stay stuck. So separate the decision from implementation. Decide what needs to happen to meet your outcomes. and then trust yourself and your team that you'll figure out the implementation. Okay? All right. Next question. What advice do you have for builders who are looking to scale their business? What advice do you have for builders who are looking to scale their business? First of all, if you're looking to scale your business, good for you. Good on you. Because people who don't want to scale their business are selfish. Yeah, that's right. People who don't want to scale their business. There are some conditions to that. So if you do good work, right? Do quality work, operate with integrity. If you care about your customers and you care about your team and you don't want to scale your business, then you're being selfish. Why do I say that? Most people would be like, wow, it seems like it would be selfish to want to scale my business because it's all about me. Well, if you meet those conditions and you don't want to scale your business, you are being selfish, okay? Because you're more concerned about your comfort. You're more concerned about your ideas and your comfort than you are about other people, right? So if you want to scale your business, good for you. You are being selfless because to scale your business means to be able to help other customers who are currently working with the other jackass, disorganized contractors who are providing a bad experience, maybe even taking advantage of them, giving us all a bad name, right? If you want to scale your business, that means you want to create more opportunities for future employees to come work in your company. Those people who are currently working for those same jackass, disorganized contractors, maybe they're a big company and they're working for a big company and they have to travel. They're getting jerked around. They feel like just a number on a spreadsheet. When you scale your business, you're creating a place for those people to work. And then when you scale your business, that means you have the resources to increase your impact. You can impact nonprofits. You can impact your church. You can do mission trips. You can have greater impact. So if you want to scale your business, good for you, because you're looking at other people saying, yes, I need to get past my limitations. I need to get out of my head. I need to get out of my comfort zone and scale this business for the sake of other people. So my advice for you, actually, this is advice that came straight from Tom Watson, who was the founder of IBM, right? You could say they had some measure of success. This is a quote or an excerpt from the E-Myth. And here's what Tom Watson, the founder of IBM, said. Quote, I realized that for IBM to become a great company, it would have to act like a great company long before it ever became one. From the very outset, IBM was fashioned after the template of my vision. And each and every day, we attempted to model the company after that template. At the end of each day, we asked ourselves how well we did, discovered the disparity between where we were and where we had committed ourselves to be, and at the start of the following day, we set out to make up for the difference. Every day at IBM was a day devoted to business development, not doing business. Every day at IBM was a day devoted to business development, not doing business. We didn't do business at IBM. We built one. So here's my advice. If you want to scale your business, start by having a clear vision of what you want to build. Have a clear vision. Answer that question. What do you want? There's a vision. If you believe in God, you probably believe that there's a vision that's been put inside of you. There's this vision that you can see. Lots of visionary entrepreneurs, when they're interviewed, will say, I just knew I had to build this thing. And I thought everybody else was the same way. I thought everybody wanted to do this. Bill Gates talked about building Microsoft, that he was so concerned somebody else was going to beat him to this idea that was burning in his mind, this vision that he had, that he dropped out of school or quit what he was doing to go focus on that entirely. So step one is have a clear vision of what you want to build. Get clarity on this vision. And then start operating like that company now. Just like Tom Watson said, he said, we had a clear vision, and each and every day we attempted to model the company after that template. He said, I realized that for IBM to become a great company, it would have to act like a great company long before it ever became one. So have a clear vision and then start acting like that company now. A big mistake I see a lot of people make is they just wait until things break. Well, we'll put those systems in place if we ever get there, right? And I honestly, I think some of it's this combination of fear and laziness. Maybe in the back of our minds, we're like, why would I put all of this effort into this thing when I don't even know if it's going to work? What if it doesn't work? So let's wait until it works. Let's wait until we have to scale it, and then we'll put the systems in place, right? This is well, maybe a better way to put it is, let's wait and see if this happens, then we'll put the systems in place. And if that's your mindset, you'll probably never get there. So have a clear vision of what you want your business to look like and start operating like it now. Put the foundations in place, put the systems in place, have a clear blueprint, and put these things in place before you need them. And then focus on building your business, not just doing business. Get out of life in the projects. It's very easy for construction business owners to live life in the projects, where it's this project, that project, onto the next project, and it's just they're just project managers. They're just overpaid project managers or superintendents or business development people or estimators living life in the projects. Because if you do that, you'll look up 30 years later and may not be happy with where you're at. So the second thing is, if you want to scale your business, where should you focus your energy? Should you focus on sales? Should you focus on operations, punch list, finance? If you want to put foundations in place to scale your business, my advice would be to focus on your pre-construction activities. Focus on your pre-construction process. This is where 80% of the chaos on your job sites can be prevented. So you can either get better at playing whack-a-mole, increase your reaction time, and get better at playing whack-a-mole, or you can learn how to become an exterminator and make it an unfriendly environment for moles, to eliminate the moles altogether. And that's what putting your pre-construction process will do for you. We call it nailing the handoff, and it is crucial. All right, one more question we have time for, then we'll have to wrap this up. What are some of the resources that you guys have at Construction Leading Edge that are available for builders who want to learn more? We have some resources available. So first of all, we have declared war on free estimates, okay? So if you are a builder, a remodeler, light general contractor, and you're doing free estimates, then I would strongly urge you to stop doing that, because you can get paid for estimates. You should get paid for estimates. Free estimates are keeping you chained to your desk, spending too much time with tire kickers and time wasters and unqualified leads, and free estimates have a huge opportunity cost. So we've declared war on free estimates, and we're giving away our Get Paid for Estimates masterclass. The scripts you'll need, the templates you need, the pricing guidance you need, and maybe most importantly, the confidence that you need to try it. So if you're ready to make your last estimate your last free estimate, then go enroll in our free Get Paid for Estimates masterclass. You can do that over at constructionleadingedge.com/start, START. Up next, the next resource we have available for you is a free training webinar called Escape Day-to-Day Operations so you can focus on being a visionary CEO. So if some of those symptoms that I listed off earlier resonate with you, I feel like I'm a visionary trapped in day-to-day operations, I'm stuck solving problems and firefighting, and you're wondering, like, how can dialing in my pre-construction process help me? And if I'm spending all my time in day-to-day operations, where should I spend my time to get out of day-to-day operations? Then this training will answer that for you, and you can get your hands on that at constructionleadingedge.com/escape, ESCAPE. Watch that training. And if you feel like a visionary stuck in day-to-day operations, feel like you're working in your business when you should be working on it, then there are 5 crucial systems. what I call the 5-piece bridge to escape operations that are proven to help you if you want to get out of firefighting mode, own a business that runs without you so that you can really get into that seat of the visionary CEO in your construction business. Would you like to have a customized blueprint of the 5-piece bridge that you can follow to systematize your construction business? Would you like to learn how the 300 plus construction business owners we've worked with are systematizing their business, reducing their stress, sleeping better at night, all the while working less? Well, if that sounds good, then the first step is to apply for your free business evaluation call over at constructionleadingedge.com/apply. Or you can just go to our website, constructionleadingedge.com, and click on the Apply Now button. Again, so to get your free customized blueprint of what the 5-piece bridge to systematize your business looks like for your business, you can do that by scheduling a free business evaluation call over at constructionleadingedge.com/apply. APPLY. Be advised, we only offer a very limited number of customized blueprints each month, so go book your call today. Hey, thanks so much for listening or watching. If wherever you're at, if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss anything. Also, be sure to check out some of the 300 plus other episodes we have out there. And if you would, you could take a moment and leave a rating and a review on the platform that you're listening. That would mean a great deal to me. It also helps get the word out there and spread it to other folks. If you could share this episode with somebody who might need to help it or might need to hear it, they might appreciate that as well. Hey, my name is Todd from constructionleadingedge.com. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you next time.